Yo, guess who I ran into? Mr. Christian Collet. And he is doing really a meat lover speaker this year. Like, tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm releasing my signature speaker.
Yeah.
Right now we're only announcing it, but it's going to come out in early summer together with eminent speakers.
Yeah.
It's called the Carnivore. Not a vegan speaker. And it's, of course, going to sound awesome. Like, I just came here from Kentucky, from the Eminence workshop where we fine-tuned the speaker. And it has a lot of bite.
I'm really excited. I mean, you're kind of notorious for trying speakers and finding sounds in speakers, so it must have been a really cool experience to be able to like design your own.
Totally. It's like I felt like a kid in a toy store or in a candy store, because they made me like work on all the parameters. So I could tell them, hey, I need more low end, and then they would build prototypes for me, like changing different parameters, so I could check out the speakers.
That's so cool.
And then move step by step until we had found something that, satisfied me.
That sounds like a dream situation. If you want to do something, actually be there and touching it and trying.
Right. So literally, I came in the morning.
Yeah.
We already had like, let's say, 80% of the
rough
sound.
idea.
Yes. And then they built like 4 speakers. I put them into a cab.
Yeah.
Made decisions. Then we built new speakers the next day. Put them back. Built new speakers. Put them back. So that was a great experience.
Is there anything you can say about the
Sound?
specs, like the technical stuff about it?
No, I don't know.
No.
I can talk
Like
about the
magnetics,
sound. Yeah, it's a ceramic. It's a ceramic magnet. Very traditional design. I think it's a British voice speaker, so it's not an experimental speaker. So people who are coming from V30s or DV77, you know, it might sound familiar. It's a rather fat sounding speaker with a fatter low end.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna like that. And so it's not like super tight sounding.
Yeah.
It's also has a round top end, so it's not harsh. You can push the highs a lot in your amp and a lot of distortion in it. And it's not gonna sound nasty.
And brittle.
And brittle, right? Very vocal mid-range. I think it's gonna work for a lot of high gain genres, and it's very easy to mic.
Nice. That's I mean, that's your forte.
Exactly. So
yeah, it's gonna be cool to check it out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. Boom, like this.
I found something really cool over at the Celestion booth, and I have Joe here to explain what it is a little bit. It's basically, help me out.
Yeah, so this is it's an 86 decibel speaker.
Yeah.
So usually like a classic Celestion speaker is around 100 decibels, maybe 99 decibels in some cases. So what we tried to do is make sure that you can turn your amp up really loud, you know, crank a 20 watt, crank a 50 watt amp, and your attenuator down 14 decibels.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can really get that tube saturation and amp sound without having to turn a traditional 100 watt amplifier up. So 100 watt amp at full blast is, a 20 watt amp at full blast is, you know, a lot of power.
Loud.
So yeah.
The obvious, like first question that I guess people watching the video, that's why don't you just put a regular attenuator between the amp?
I mean, I've used attenuators in the past and they are good. I found the more I attenuate, the more it kind of shapes the tone. And the benefit of using, I suppose, like a speaker like the Peacekeeper is your amp is seeing a traditional speaker as a load, it's not seeing an attenuator as a load. So you get that same coupling between transformer and speaker, you get the same, you know, saturation, sag and things that the speaker would see. Whereas I found attenuators, the more you attenuate, sort of the less real it sounded to me.
That's really cool. But how loud does it get if you like?
It gets pretty loud. I mean, we've tested it with 50 watt amplifiers. We found that 50 watts is a good point because amps tend to have peaks and spikes. You know, they don't completely output 50 watts. They never are flat. So you get peaks of 60 watts or maybe even 100 watts in some cases, putting pedals and things through them. So it will get pretty loud, and pairing them up in twos and fours. You could gig with it, but you'd obviously have to mic it up. I don't think it would ever get over a drum
But
kit.
I'm mainly a studio guy.
Cool.
I work full time with my studio, and the benefit I see is, as I said, you can crank stuff.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to blast it super loud,
Yep.
and it will probably. I just assume it will maybe be easier for a microphone to pick up when it doesn't get blasted to.
And I guess your microphone choice, a large diaphragm condenser and things like that, you might not want to blast it so bad, or a river microphone that's more sensitive. You'd be able to get this pretty loud. I mean, this is at 20 watts, and it's almost at the level where we can talk over it. It's still pretty loud, but it's that level where, so.
And that is.
On a
But
large
that
amplifier.
is a 20 watt amp, right?
20 watt amp, yeah.
And it's basically maxed out.
And we're maxed out on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we can compare with this one that is barely.
Yeah, so this is at around 4, and this is
3 or 4.
This is full efficiency.
It's louder and less exciting. So we're here with Radial Science, super well known for DI boxes and reamp boxes and everything that has to do with that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm Ryan.
We're here with Ryan, and he's going to tell us about some new stuff that's coming out.
Yeah,
Is it out already? Or
these are new for the show.
Yeah.
We're going into manufacturing next week.
Okay.
So we're hoping to be shipping, ideally, a week from yesterday, so next Friday.
Oh, cool.
So beginning of February. Late January, beginning of February. So here we have the Highline. So we have a Highline and a Highline stereo.
Yeah.
What we found is that a lot of people that are using amp modelers these days are looking for a way to drive the signal long distance without noise.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily looking for a DI box, but they're looking for a line isolator. The customers, for some reason, are asking for a line isolator. Meanwhile, a DI box will technically do the same thing, but at mic level. So with the Highline, what you do is you come in balanced or unbalanced. So we have transformer isolation. So even if you have a balanced signal, you can still use the Radial Highline to add protection for your modeler, right? And provide very good common mode rejection because you're isolating with the transformer. So you have less chance of noise getting at the mic pre or the line input on the console. So inside we have a Jensen JT11Y MPC transformer, which is a very, very high quality transformer, which we manufacture in-house. And it has extremely low harmonic distortion, which basically means that there's no coloration of your signal. So whatever is coming out of your amp modeler is going through the Highline and then to the mixing console, either at mic level input or line level input if you want. It will drive line levels. You have a through to go to stage amp if you want, and you also have a stereo sum. So you can come in with a stereo signal from your amp modeler and go mono out to wherever you want to go. A ground lift for hum and buzz issues to reduce any sort of noise issues, right? So we have the Highline, that's the mono version. Again, will sum from stereo to mono. And then we have the Highline stereo. So it's a 2-channel version of the Highline. Here, there's a few cool features. What we have is, so it's pedalboard friendly, the way that we've configured the jacks. We have left and right inputs and then through. On the other side, we have stereo outputs. So again, balanced XLR, Jensen transformers, very high quality, no harmonic distortion, or virtually none. Ground lift as well for hum and buzz if we have ground loops. Back on the input side, we have 2 different summing options. So we have a through sum, So what that would allow you to do is come in from your modular stereo, and then sum just the through to mono. So if you only have one single stage amp for monitoring, right? And then you still go stereo to the house.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And you could do the opposite. So you could actually have maybe the front of house console is running out of channels. So you can sum the XLRs down to mono. So you can just use one, you only need to use one XLR output. And then you have your stereo monitoring. So if you're using some sort of flat frequency response powered speakers, which is often used these days with amp modelers, you can go to those, and the musician can still have stereo. Typically, a lot of people are using in-ears, but some people do like that, the feeling of air pushing. So you can have them both engaged, one engaged to the other, or not engaged at all. We've also added a bracket that can be used with either one of these.
Under the pedal board.
So we can
That's
actually,
smart.
this will use all our smaller DIs. You can use any DI if you want, but we just released these with the Highlines. So this is for the Highline stereo, so 2 different sizes. This one, you can configure it so that you can have the XLR output. You just take the screws out of the DI or the line isolator, and then you can flip it so you can have this come out the right side or the left side of the pedal board. Right now it works for pedal train classic juniors and larger, and as well as the Temple audio boards as well. So it has the same whole pattern. So US retail on the brackets is $29.99. US retail on the Highline is $179.99, and on the Highline stereo is $249.99.
Nice.
And once again, these are new for Namm. And ideally we're shipping next week because they're going into production.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Thanks for
stopping
showing
by.
me. Take care.
Take care.